Magic Origins. But
That's a good point.
But I do know, you know, people have been talking about some of the cards. You know, Abbot of Carol Keep is a card people call the Red Snapcaster Mage.
I hear that card playable in Legacy.
Is that, yeah, I mean, you know, especially with, you know, Brainstorm and all these other cards where you're manipulating the top card of your library, is that card suddenly going to be something that we see? I know that there's a 2-0 Stoneblade deck out there in the field that's playing 3 copies of Jace Vryn Adept, the new...
Vryn's Prodigy.
Oh, Jace Vryn Prodigy, sorry, yeah.
Interesting.
Playing the new Jace.
Better than Snapcaster?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what
yeah, it's time to find out,
I don't know
right?
at what cost, but we're going to try to get that on there. So I'm really curious to see what any other Magic Origins cards stand out to you. I mean, is Dark Petition, you mentioned, as a vintage playable card, is that a card that, you know, we see in like one of the you know, sort of ad nauseum decks or storm deck of some kind?
It strikes me as a better vintage card where you get to tutor for restricted cards. I mean, Handerback Walker's got to be playable in something, right? The card just seems crazy. That seems to me like the best card from Origins.
Right.
Like, it maybe the Mishra's Workshop makes it a better fit for vintage tomorrow, but yeah, like you say, let's find out. This should be
we do have some
fun.
We do have some deck lists.
We do. Sweet.
We have a couple players lined up in the vintage match. I know we're going to start on Rich Shay, I believe.
Look who's in the feature match area.
I see Nathan Holt walking the plains. Is he playing any plains? I don't think he is.
He is not. He is playing.
He's walking the plains, but he's running Misty Rainforests.
Nimble Mongoose. Yeah, it's a nice deck. Delver, basically. Playing against Leach, who's also on Delver.
Yeah, I mean, Delver is sort of the patron saint of the format, right?
Yeah. Got Harry Corvasi in the feature match area.
Oh, cool.
Him to Torox. Liliana's.
Toxic Deluge. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, it's Shardless Bug.
Okay.
I think it's a Life from the Loam deck.
All right,
Brian Hardenberger. You said we're starting on Rich Shay?
I think we're going to start on Rich Shay, yeah.
Grixis Pyromancer.
Oh, excited.
Oh, sweet. You know, I mean, I mentioned Vintage Super League previously. Rich Shay is obviously one of the members of the Vintage Super League. This is the legacy version of the deck I used to win the most recent Vintage Super League.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so 4 Cabal Therapies. Cabal Therapy with Young Pyromancer.
Right.
It's good times. Yeah? It's good times. 4 copies of Gitaxian Probe, so often...
We saw Olirade and Magnus Lanto in the Magic Online Championship.
Which is exactly who I got the deck list from, yeah. It's Ula's deck, ultimately.
Right.
I mean, it's been running around Legacy a little bit. Ula's the one who really ported it to Vintage. Magnus Lanto used it to win the Mox. You know, the Vintage portion, which did come up in the Mox Finals. So we'll see him at Worlds next weekend. But yeah, so Rich has got the legacy version of that deck. Man, you look at their first turn 1 Gitaxian Probe and then hit with Cabal Therapy guaranteed.
Oh yeah, yeah. That deck was pretty filthy watching the vintage version.
Yeah.
And who's Rich playing?
Max Stahl, Death and Taxes.
Okay.
2 inevitable things. Death, Taxes, and White Weenie decks. So Aether Vial, Mother of Runes, Swords, Thalia, charging you taxes on everything.
Who do you like in that matchup?
I mean, I can't not root for the Grixis Pyromancer deck.
Rooting and, you know, believing that they will win are 2 different things.
Fair. I think I like the matchup. I don't think Death and Taxes is bad, because the thing is, Death and Taxes is annoying when you've got a lot of expensive spells. I don't know. Thalia is pretty good against like all the cantrips, Gitaxian Probes and whatnot. Can be tough to go through.
But you know what? I think we are ready to go down to the floor.
Excellent.
Watch the first round that we're covering. It's going to be the 3rd round. These guys are 2-0, so we're going to send it down to the floor here from the Legacy Championships at Eternal Weekend.
So Rich Shay on the left, Max Stahl on the right.
Hello and welcome to round 3 of the Legacy Championships. You're here with Brian David Marshall. It's a little mixed up, but and Grixis Pyromancer. So we're excited to see this deck in action. Have you seen it much in Legacy?
Most of my experiences with the Vintage version. They're pretty similar though. Like the Vintage version only plays a couple of Moxes.
Max Stahl leads off. He plays a Mother of Runes on turn 1. And now Rich Shay casts
the Gitaxian Probe.
So
what you got?
Get to see the whole hand. no permission in this deck, right?
No.
Can I read this card, please?
What are those cards? Is that a double? Is that the Vryn Wingmare?
These are both
It
correct.
looks like a Vryn
And 2 copies of it, right? It's 3 lands and a double. If Rich has a Cabal Therapy to follow up with, oh my god.
5 card check. I'll draw.
And you're 18.
Energy Volcanica.
Those must be even mind sensors. Oh, he does have the Vryn there. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, break the Volcanic Island. Here comes.
Well, Scalding Tarn, so he's got black mana if he needs it. Obviously, the fetch land for dual land mana base is a big part of why you can make a deck like this work.
Yeah, and there's the Cabal.
And he does have the Cabal Therapy. Wow. What do you think he's going to name, Brian? It's Vryn Wingmare.
Of course, he could just be like, I don't care about that card, not even name it. Wow. Just strips his
Turn
hand.
1, Max Stahl is down to a lone Mother of Runes. Everything else is a land. Yeah, sure. Waste your underground. I mean, the damage has kind of been done. It's not nothing, but top deck's a Mother. He's going to leave his Mother on defense, though, once the tap for protection ability to be online here.
And really, that's the hallmark of the Death Attacks deck, right? It's just like, I'm just gonna like
Annoy you to death.
beat up your, I'm just gonna cut your mana base at every possible turn and whittle you down with whatever kind of mediocre offensive creatures I can muster that have other abilities that control the game. There's a correct.
I mean, Wasteland's already annoying enough, but throw Thalia into the mix and it's even worse. Wow, Young Pyromancer online. Rich just goes for it on turn 2. No reason to believe Max has an answer for it, since we saw his hand a couple turns ago.
And Rich is holding Force of Will.
He is. Yeah, I mean, Max does have plows in his list. He also has does he have a Rich has a Jitte. Does Max also have? No, he has one Jitte.
Yeah, one Sword of Fire and Ice.
Not a lot of removal, though. If he doesn't have the plow, that Young Pyromancer is going to get out of control pretty quickly. I mean, with Rich's opening, you can't script the opening any better than that. Probe, fetch for underground.
Your opponent could have not had
Cabal Therapy.
Wasteland. You could have gotten that online in turn 2 instead of turn 3. That would be the better. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Caracas is a legendary land, of course, so plays the second one, has to lose the first one, but this is the only way to get to 3 mana.
And is that another
It is.
Wingmare?
It's just all Vryn Wingmares all the time.
Now, are we at the point where Rich has to think about forcing that just with 2 Mother of Runes up?
I mean, you do get a token.
Yeah.
Like, once your Pyromancer comes down, you kind of want to start countering any random thing.
And that's what he does. Pictures a Brainstorm, pays a life, and counters it. Gets to untap. Just drew another Cabal Therapy.
Yeah, I mean,
But he doesn't have a black source.
Exactly.
Has to pass the turn.
Now, he can Cabal Therapy out of the yard if he wants to, sacrificing the Young Pyromancer token. He gets another token, but sitting on Counterspell.
It draws Counterspell, yep.
I think he's kind of would rather draw a Gitaxian Probe and be able to hit with the Therapy or be able to Therapy twice because he drew black mana.
Looks like he might have actually just drawn a Probe. No, which is Brainstorm. And you can see that Young Pyromancer just starts racking up tokens. There's 2 cards back down. Finds a Polluted Delta, which he's going to crack right now.
Well, yeah, now he can Therapy, see if that's a relevant card. It's not still a land, is it? Wow, he gets Volcanic. Not even interested. Didn't you tell me he drew Cabal Therapy?
He does have, you know what? He just shuffled it away with the Brainstorm.
Okay. I mean, it's certainly true that Max's game is basically living on top of his deck at this point. I mean, Rich has already done the damage of blowing all the relevant cards out of his hand. He just needs to build up a big enough army of elemental tokens that he can attack through a Mother of Runes and, you know, not worry about losing one.
So there's an Aether Vial. Now, can Aether Vial still be a force in this game, drawn this late into the game?
I mean, it does give the ability for Max to get creatures into play through Rich's counterspells. So it's relevant. It's not as good as actually drawing a creature, I don't think. But I mean, Max's game plan is sit behind those Mother of Runes. He's still on 20, so Rich has to build up a fairly large army of elemental tokens before he's going to be willing to attack and essentially lose 2 elemental tokens every time he attacks.
He's getting there.
He's getting there. Second Young Pyromancer would really do it for Rich. But I mean, from Rich's point of view, he's got such control of the game, he's happy to just kind of sit behind permission. He's got, what, Force of Will in his hand? Can't tell if there's another counterspell.
Now, how about True Name Nemesis?
True Name Nemesis.
Now, most of these death attacks do run Will of the Council, right?
Nope.
And I've certainly saw more than a few when I was looking.
There's a Council's Judgment in the sideboard.
Council's Judgment, I'm sorry, that's, yeah.
One in the sideboard. 1 Jitte in the main is about the only way to deal with that True Name. Rin Wingmare. Is that another Wingmare?
No, that's Thalia.
Oh, that's Thalia. My bad. I guess it's not surprising their art is similar, given their effects are similar. Non-creature spells costing 1 more to cast.
Hey, we were talking about Magic Origins cards.
Yeah. I forgot about the Wingmare. It makes sense. I mean, at 3 mana, it's not as good as Thalia, but you kind of want more Thalias in that deck, right?
And you go Thalia, your opponent can't do anything, then you go Wingmare. And again, you can also put it into play with your Aether Vial.
Got to get that value. Max activates Aether Vial just to see if he can get Rich to do something as a response. Had no 1-drop. So, True Name is going to chip away at Max's life total. I mean, obviously 7 True Name attacks would get it done. He'll start attacking with the elementals before we get to that point, though. Dak Faden. Now, does Rich cycle through, mill through himself for a couple, or does he steal the Aether Vial?
You gotta steal the Aether Vial, right?
Yeah. His play is steal the Aether Vial. Nice. I mean, the really nice thing that Dak does is set up your delve cards. Right, 4 copies of Dig Through Time in Rich's list. It looks innocuous, right? Draw 2, discard 2. It doesn't look like a ridiculous ability, but it turns out
it's Manamorphose.
It turns out it's Manamorphose, exactly. Like, I get to put 2 cards into my yard and not spend any mana, not be down a card. In fact, I'm up selection.
Right.
But yeah, this combos so insanely well with Dig Through Time. I mean, Rich already on a full yard, so I mean, Dig would, I'm sure, ice this game if he finds one. Yeah, we'll go up with Dak.
Yep, and there you see it in action. He does have another Young Pyromancer in hand.
Sure.
Don't know that matters at this point. In fact, he discards it.
He's discarding Force of Will. Do you just scoop? Your opponent discards Force of Will, Young Pyromancer?
Discards Young Pyromancer with an Aether Vial on 2 in your hand.
That's funny. Jitte.
Yeah, Umezawa's Jitte comes down.
True Name Nemesis is pretty good at wearing Umezawa's Jitte.
An attack. As he tap 5 to Thalia means that the Jitte costs 3.
Yep. But now, yeah. Which 2 creatures would you like to kill, Rich? Yeah.
He kills the 2 Mother of Runes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is a...
Yeah, I guess Mother Mother could potentially have given somebody protection from red to attack through like Jite, Mother protection.
All right, there you have game 1 goes to Rich Shay. Rather convincing fashion.
Yes.
I mean, really, all just set up by that. I mean, how different is that game?
Now we talked about how this is a vintage deck. This is a legitimately good vintage deck. We should see some number of them tomorrow. And Rich basically had a first turn kill. That's what happens when you play vintage decks, right?
Now, what happens?
Not very often.
Right.
We don't very often get first turn kills, but occasionally you do.
What happens here after sideboarding for Rich?
What does Rich get? He gets a couple copies of Forked Bolt, which seems very good in the matchup. He gets an Engineered Explosives, which I would probably bring in. Explosives on 1 seems
great, yeah.
Seems pretty exciting. So basically, he's got some good anti-creature tech. I don't know that Pithing Needle comes in here. Max. What Rich does not have that would be insane here is Dread of Night,
right?
Which I had in the sideboard of this deck for mentor decks, but he doesn't have any copies of Dread of Night. Which there's not that many White Weenie decks running around Legacy. I don't blame him. I'm just still seeing this through my own my vintage colored glasses.
Well, we watched Oleg play that too when we were doing the Magic Online Championships.
Right.
It was devastating.
It's a good card, very powerful card. B enchantment, all the white creatures die, approximately.
Yeah, I assume the Council's Judgment will come in now that he's seen the True Name Nemesis.
Oh, I would think so. He's got a Path to Exile. Containment Priest doesn't do anything. Ruined Halo. There's some spice in this sideboard. There's a Nahiri Lithomancer.
I am
quick pop quiz.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna fail this pop quiz.
Can you tell me what card type it is?
It's got to be a creature,
or a planeswalker.
Oh, so is that the planeswalker from the new Commander set?
Yeah, well, 2014 Commander set.
Yeah.
Nahiri the Lithomancer. She was the face of the white Commander deck. All those Commander cards are legal in Eternal formats, right? So Nahiri's plus is to put a 1/1 white core soldier into play. You may attach an equipment you control to it. -2, put an equipment card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield.
Oh.
She's 5 mana though, 3 WW. What is the ultimate? Colorless equipment artifact token named Stoneforged Blade onto the battlefield. It has indestructible, equip 0, and equipped creature gets +5/+5, and double strike.
Okay.
Sounds kind of exciting, but -10, yeah. 5 mana Planeswalker, it's what you get when you for a 5 mana Planeswalker, right? Especially one that was only ever legal in Eternal formats. So one of those hanging out in the sideboard. I don't know when you decide it's time for Nahiri. I guess long matches where you need to be able to recycle your Batter Skulls back out of the graveyard.
Or when you're on camera. You know.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Stoneforged Mystic deck, right? I mean, that's the best card in the Death and Taxes deck. It's got to be the Stoneforged Mystic.
Do you have Cataclysm ever?
I mean, it's in the sideboard. I don't know. Boy, he is so ready for the other Stoneblade decks. Manriki Gusari's in this sideboard, too. He's all about recursing his equipment, killing the other guy's equipment.
What does the Ruined Halo do for this deck out of the sideboard?
That's name a source, right? I mean, you can name True Name Nemesis.
Sure. Rest in peace. Like, okay.
You know, a couple Leyline of Sanctity. This isn't really the matchup for them.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, it does stop Cabal Therapy and Gataxian Probe. Yeah, I mean, it's a whole bunch of cards that like can do things, but what do you actually want in this matchup? Maybe you do Leyline in this matchup, like being able to just shut off Gataxian Probe and
Cabal Therapy.
And Cabal Therapy. Is that enough? I don't know if that's enough.
Yeah. Does it? How is True Name Nemesis worded? It doesn't work.
I think it's name an opponent.
Yeah,
I don't think it's target or name a player.
Yeah.
It's name a player because you can name yourself.
Right.
You can mess it up. You can misclick it on Magic Online.
So we have some information about the WMCQ.
Oh yeah.
They're in round 3, I believe. And Matt Costa just won his game 1. I'm not sure who he's playing.
Who's Matt playing against? Yeah, we're gonna try to get one WMCQ feature match into the area per round.
Yeah.
Oh, he's playing Steve
Matt
Rubin.
Costa versus Steve Rubin this round?
That's a good match.
Insane.
Well, welcome into the tournament, Platinum Pros. Matt's not Platinum. Matt already had to play some. Matt has earned his 2 wins. The Platinum Pros get 2 buys.
Yeah.
And
they've got to basically go 4-1.
Yeah, 8-round tournament, so 2 buys, 6-1, and an ID.
And we've already seen the impact of this at the Japanese WMCQ this weekend.
Oh yeah, you were telling me. Who's in that top 8?
So Mahara,
Okay.
Shuhei.
Sure.
I think you said Ken Yukihiro.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
It might be Yasuoka.
It's Shota.
It's
Shota.
Yasuoka. So
that's half your Japanese top 8. So they play that out. They're all 2-day this year.
Yes.
So they've already played. They're so many time zones ahead of us. They've already finished day 1. Those 4 and 4 other presumably quaking in their shoes Japanese players will show up.
All right, but we're underway here, and things are going a little better for Max Stahl this game, where he gets to fire off a turn.
Well, I guess we'll see.
Turn 1 Aether Vial.
And we'll see how many cards survive.
And we will see, because Gitaxian Probe is the play. I see Mother of Runes, Path to Exile, Thalia, Phyrexian Revoker, and a blinding piece of light.
Glare. Yeah. Yeah, Rich is of course going to write all these down.
Draws his card for Probe.
It was a batter's call.
Oh, wow.
Now, does he have? He does have a Cabal Therapy.
He does have a Cabal Therapy. He also has a Polluted Delta.
All right.
He doesn't even need the Delta.
So he's going to hit. The question is, what do you name? Name Thalia.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Points.
Trigger. Put the counter on.
Yeah.
Bigger counter. Wow.
No second land.
What we did not see in that hand was a second land. Is Rich also on 1 land? But with a Brainstorm?
I believe Rich...
I see a Ponder and a Brainstorm.
I thought he also had a Polluted Delta.
Maybe. So many cantrips. Deck is just all cantrips and Young Pyromancer. Gets away with playing 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15. Only has to play 18 lands.
Wow.
Because of all those cantrips.
I play 18 lands in my limited decks.
Yeah, same.
Okay. So, Mother of Runes comes down off of Aether Vial.
That was a response to the Ponder, or a response to the fetch land, where Rich isn't able to stifle it. I don't think Rich actually plays Stifle, but it is a thing. And you want to put Mother Runes into play? I'm going to Lightning Bolt.
Yeah. All right. 2 counters now on the Aether Vial. Looks like.
Yeah, it definitely takes some of the sting out of only having 1 land in this draw. You can still play most of his creatures this way.
How many lands does this deck play?
Yeah, it's a Wasteland deck, so 4 Wasteland, 4 Port. Lets you go 23.
Yeah. That's exactly what it does, 23 lands. Has these far more unwieldy hands than Max so far. I have all these cards. I don't even want to keep this Young Pyromancer.
Well, Young Pyromancer hits the table.
All right.
Oh, someone has to tell Rich about the new coverage rules. Lands in front, sir.
Phyrexian Revoker comes down. I'll try to get word on what.
Yeah, don't know what he named. Dak Faden? Sounds like Dak Faden.
Wants to keep his Aether Vial this time. And Path to Exile on the Young Pyromancer. Is there a... No?
No Force of Will. I would totally Force of Will that path there. You want Young Pyro, you'd love the token.
Yeah, we haven't seen the hand. Is there any chance that he would have not used the Force of Will there if he had it?
I would be very surprised if he decided not to Force of Will. Now, the thing that you do sometimes with this deck is sideboard out Force of Wills, especially against a matchup that's likely to be kind of grindy and trading card for card. Force of Will doesn't trade very well in a grindy matchup. Force of Will is very good at preventing the combo deck from blowing you out, like preventing crazy powerful things from happening, but you can shave them in a matchup like this. Not get yourself 2 for 1. mean, maybe if he has a backup young Pyromancer, he would decline. Maybe. I don't think he cares that much about the 4th land. He doesn't play any Jaces, does he? He plays 1 copy of Jace the Mind Sculptor. So, I mean, I guess if I had Jace in my hand and no land, I might let that. Oh, there's a Force of Will in there. And a Dak Faden. Did he just draw that?
She's gonna play. He's gonna play Dak Faden.
Didn't the Revoker name it? Is Rich aware of what the Revoker named, or does he have a removal spell? Okay.
Yes, he does.
Fork
He has the
Bolt.
Fork Bolt. And then he gets the steal.
Yes, he does. Wow. So maybe was Dak Faden the only blue card in his hand?
It looks like that might be the case.
So he really wanted Dak Faden plus Fork Bolt plus Steal Your Aether Vial. That's why he let that.
And Max Stahl still sitting on that
resolve.
1 mana.
I guess with the against a mana screwed opponent, stealing Aether Vial is huge. I like Rich's line. Yeah, I might have snapped off the Force of Will there, but I think I would have been wrong. I like this Dak Faden line. Stealing the Aether Vial against the guy who's only got 1 land is just huge. Did he decline to tick up Dak?
He did.
Why did he decline to tick up Dak?
I don't know.
Dak did his job. Sounds like Steve Rubin has evened up his match against Matt Costa. Game apiece for those guys.
Steve Rubin, quietly one of the most dominant players on the Pro Tour this year.
That is, at this point, Rubin is his middle name, right? First name Steve, middle name Rubin, last name Quietly.
Yeah.
That's how every sentence involving him goes. Steve Rubin quietly does something. No, I hear you. He helped build a Pro Tour winning deck. He put up solid cash money finishes at all the Pro Tours. There's like 10 Pro points, 10 Pro points, 10 Pro points. Oh look, now I'm Platinum and going to Worlds. This is awesome.
That's a dig through time resolves for Shay. Now it's time to use Dak Faden.
Yeah, this game's basically over. Any chance we can get that game 3? I'd love to watch Costa Rubin game 3 if we can get it. We'll see if we can make that happen. We'll try.
Okay. And just Rich's just not taking his boot off of Max's neck here.
Yeah. Oh, our report from the floor was wrong. We can't watch game 3 because there is no game 3.
Oh, so Matt Costa won 2-0.
Matt Costa won the second game. Matt Costa wins the match, 2-0.
Steve Rubin quietly lost game 2 there.
Steve Rubin quietly getting ready to test for Worlds. It's a bit of a tension there. Like, if you're going to Worlds, do you come to the WMCQ this weekend?
Yeah, that's the Worlds is Thursday.
Right. In Seattle, on the other side of the country.
Oh, I know.
When's your? Do you go home for a couple days, or you fly straight from here?
I'm going to go home tomorrow, and then fly Monday morning.
Oh, okay. I'm also flying Monday morning, but from here.
Okay. So another true name.
2 true
nemesis.
names. Yeah.
2 name nemesis.
Enlighten Tutor. Okay, you're not going to draw land next turn. What do you Enlighten Tutor for here? The Ruined Halo! I was thinking it might be Ruined Halo. Has he been sandbagging a land? Or is he just like, I need to get this done now, then top deck a land? It's hard to top deck a land on the turn where you're Enlightened Tutor, though. Yeah, Ruined Halo naming True Name Nemesis would be pretty good here.
Yeah.
I don't know, isn't it better to try to top deck the land first?
I would think so.
This way, certainly, he has warned Rich Shay. Here's what's going to happen if I draw a land, Rich. True Names hit for 6, so think Max has 2 draw phases, draw steps.
Sort of, right? Again.
Wasteland. Wasteland does not cast Rune Halo.
Rune Halo gives you protection from a chosen card for WW. So he's actually, it does give you WW because that was Flagstones of Troncair.
Oh.
So he plays the Wasteland,
Funny.
taps the Flagstones.
I didn't realize it was a Flagstones. That is funny. Yeah, tap it for white, Wasteland it, go get the planes, tap that for white. What do you think? What are the odds of this resolving?
Oh, but yeah, I don't even think
Wait, does Flagstones?
the Flagstones comes into play. The land comes into play. Tap. Maybe he was just
What does that do?
nothing.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, Rich had not only the lightning bolts to shorten the clock, but also the Force of Will.
Yeah, the planes comes into play. Tap.
It doesn't do anything.
Matter. Yeah, he was just doing some fancy.
Just show it off.
Yeah.
So, Rich Shay, 3-0.
Yeah, and convincingly there.
Yeah, that deck looks great.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Max Stahl was a little lane constrained in that game, but you know he had the
It
tools
landed
to
an Aether Vial.
He had the tools to win that game, you know, to win a game, maybe not that game.
All true.
So Vryn Wingmare, so if we're going to keep our Magic Origin sort of counter going, like new cards that we're seeing in Legacy here, Vryn Wingmare there, not really any additions.
Kolaghan's Command is the sweet one I noticed in Rich Shay's list.
Yeah.
I was talking to him a little bit, the World Board Gaming Championships, I ran into Rich a couple of weeks ago. He was telling me Kolaghan's Command is actually really good in this list. So he's been playing one in Vintage and has one in his Legacy list here as well.
And so what's he doing with that card? What is that? I mean, I've seen people playing with it. I've seen people playing with it in Modern and Snapcasters and doing sort of all sorts of fun stuff there. I guess
it's just value. I mean, it's just a value card. It's just, you know, you're always, what flavor of 2-for-1 do you want in this particular game? Just does a lot of stuff. Wonder if Rich is going to run this deck in back-to-back formats.
So what happens to the deck when you bring it to Vintage?
You get a couple Moxes, right? You get a couple Moxes of Lotus. You get the blue power, right? The Ancestral and the Walk. Those are certainly nice. You don't necessarily need 4 lightning bolts. I ran it with 3. Brainstorm's restricted, so you lose out on some of those. Ponder's restricted, but you just play Preordains instead. You wind up short a couple of cantrips.
Okay.
But you get to play 1 Treasure Cruise, which is nice. The Jitte and the True Name Nemesis are the cards that are probably just for Legacy.
Right.
Sounds like we do not have a match ready to move. Do we have updates on the match scores for the other Legacy feature matches? I know that we had 3 this round.
Right. And we got the long match, I guess.
No, I think that they're in the middle of a game. Are they done, or are they just in the middle of a game? They're both in game 2. And our game 1 winners, there's a Harry Corvesi match against Brian Hardenberger, and then Nate Holt is playing against Li Zhu. Yeah, we're trying to get updates for those. But yeah, I could see Rich totally running this deck back to back. I know he's been at least messing with it in Vintage.
So Lee's up 1 game against Nate. Corvesi update. And then if one of those goes into game 3, we're going to try to get them
definitely
over under the camera. The issue is we don't want to move someone while they're in the middle of playing a match, playing a game.
Yeah.
So, it sounds like Harry won 2-0.
Got it.
So we're basically all in on the.
Is he 3-0 now? I think Harry's 3-0 now.
Yeah. Li Zhu versus Nate Holt. I know Nate was 1-1 this round. Coming into this round. So that's a 1-1 match.
And this Shardless Bug deck from Harry is nice.
So what is a Shardless Bug deck?
Shardless is for Shardless Agent.
Yep.
So for Shardless Agent, that's 3 mana Cascade. So it's essentially always a 2-for-1. You get a 2/2 body and you get something. You can hit a Baleful Strix, which is again a 2-for-1 of its own, right? You can hit
I've drafted this thing.
Thoughtseize, Hymn to Torok, Brainstorm, Abrupt Decay. It's 4 Abrupt Decay, Tarmogoyf, Deathrite Shaman, Ancestral Visions is not bad to hit.
Sure.
Yeah, and then a couple Planeswalkers, 2 Lilianas, 2 Jace the Mind Sculptor, a Tasigur. It's just value, right? We're supposed to call it Shardless Sultai. Shardless Bug is obviously the name that it's had. Kind of predates. Had this come up at the old school tournament yesterday. Somebody said they were playing a Grixis beatdown deck and were summarily booed out of the room. Like, what is this Grixis you speak of? You, sir, are playing Nicol Bolas beatdown.
So Hardenberger was playing Aggro Loam.
Aggro Loam?
Yeah. So Abrupt Decay, Life from the Loam, Green Sun Zenith, Sylvan, Mox Diamonds, Punishing Fire,
So
Chalice.
8 Abrupt Decays between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Harry came out on top of this match already, right? The Shardless
Yeah.
deck. 2 Force of Wills is always a fun number.
Just the 2. So it's a little more of a sweat about whether or not they have it.
Yeah, but I mean, so much of your strategy is to win these grinding games, right? You're just this mid-range attrition deck. You don't want a 2-for-1 yourself. Your whole point is to 2-for-1 them.
Right. You don't want to have it. Just want it there when you really need it.
Right. The idea is to draw it exactly when you need it.
Yeah, exactly. You can go down to 1.
Oh, there's one on the sideboard.
Oh, okay. For when you have to go up to 3. Sure. So let me ask you a question while we're talking. While I've mentioned Cube.
Okay.
I was just segue a little here. What is this legendary cube? What are you allowed to say about this?
I don't know. Nobody's watching, right? I can say anything. I don't know if anybody from Wizards
hold on.
is watching.
Let me turn this off.
So yeah, I designed a cube for Wizards. It's a legendary cube. Every creature in the cube is legendary.
Okay.
So, I mean, big picture, there's 2 cubes on Magic Online, there have been, and I think it's really interesting how different they are, right? You get the Legacy Cube, you get the Holiday Cube. Some people like the Holiday Cube, some people say, okay, that's fine, but I mean, it's kind of broken. Let me draft it.
The Holiday Cube being powered cube.
The powered cube, exactly. Yeah. Almost the vintage cube and the Legacy Cube.
Yeah.
So, we did a lot of good work, I thought, taking the Legacy Cube and sort of cleaning it up about a year ago and getting it so that it's its own distinct experience. Some tried some experiments that maybe weren't super successful with the vampires. Although the vampires, look, I gotta tell you, just as an aside, I think the vampire experiment was successful in the sense that it was fun to try out.
Sure.
Lots of people took it as a personal challenge to try to win with vampires. I got sent, more than a couple 3-0 vampire deck lists on Twitter. But no, look, the vampires are not at the power level, even after you get all the synergy that comes from having a linear deck with lords that take advantage of that and whatnot. Still just a cut below the other things in the Legacy Cube. But I continue to think that trying out things of that shape and size in the Magic Online cubes is the right thing to do long term.
Sure.
So, totally successful experiment that, spoiler, it's probably ended. Legacy Cube actually comes back before we get to the Legendary Cube, so
Okay.
I may or may not be thinking about Legacy Cube changes as well. Legendary Cube, my thought was there's a space for a cube where there's no aggro deck. Right, you know how you draft this sweet cube deck and you've got all this awesome stuff and then your opponent goes turn 1 Mountain Jackal-Pup and you just slump. You're not going to get to do any of your sweet stuff because your opponent wants to win the damn game. How dare they show up with a deck that's going to kill me in 3 or 4 turns? How am I going to do any of the sweet stuff?
Right.
So the Legendary Cube, when you go to all of your creatures to Legendary, there aren't enough legends out there to build a beatdown deck. You're like, okay, Isamaru,
You get Zergo.
Zergo Bellstriker, and you're done. Those are you're not exactly going to beat down with Norrin the Wary.
Right.
So I thought it would be awesome to kind of play in a space where the whole point of the cube, it's almost like Commander style gameplay. Like it's not like you play the game's Commander or anything, but it's got that vibe of the game just goes longer. Like you're gonna have time to set up. You're gonna have time to put the sweet combo together. You're gonna have time to play with just awesome creatures.
Right.
And yeah, I think it's a really cool idea. I mean, I hope so. I mean, I'm obviously a little bit biased here.
Sure.
I put the draft together, but I mean, WotC's also gone through a whole development cycle. You know, Adam Prozac has been leading a development team that sort of took my first draft and play tested it and tweaked it around.
So you say all the creatures are legendary, but there's still spells and
Yeah.
cool lands and
Oh, yeah,
all
yeah.
that fun stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a cube. It's 600 card cube. You know, all the creatures are legends. That gives it both its flavor and I think defines the gameplay,
Sure.
because it sends you to this world where you can play more expensive stuff. Nobody has an aggro deck really. Like your aggro deck is playing 3 mana creatures and 4 mana creatures, I guess. I mean, that's faster than what the
Right.
you know, the guy summoning 7 mana dragons and whatnot. But yeah, it's super sweet, and it's just, you get to play with all these sweet cards. You know, it's a very different card set from a normal cube.
Right.
So I think it's definitely going to be different and interesting in the sense of, well, let's try drafting this and see what happens. You know, hopefully we've gotten to a point where you get 10 drafts in and you want to do 10 more drafts, and then you want to do 20 more drafts after that. I mean, obviously it's a pretty experimental cube design in the sense that I haven't really seen a cube like this before.
Right.
So it's hard to say that it's going to be perfect, especially the first time out, but I think it's already very good, and I'm really interested to see what happens when people get their hands on it. I'll certainly be listening, and I'll be in the cubes drafting it right alongside everybody. So I think that's queued up for November.
Yeah, it sounded like it was holiday season-ish, right?
Yeah, it's not replacing the holiday cube. I think it's November.
Okay.
I mean, I think they're running cube approximately every other month. I mean, it's not like it's on a rotation like that. I mean, obviously they try to put cube at the points where there's no new set that just came out, right? You kind of put it in there before new sets come out. Oh, right, it's coming out when the C15 decks are coming out. Because the other thing that's gone on is that the Commander 2015 product, where you buy, you know, the fixed decks, we were talking about Nihiri in the last round, that product is not going to be sold on Magic Online. The only way you can get the new cards from Commander 2015 on Magic Online is through prize packs from the Legendary Cube.
Oh, okay.
So there's like, you know, 50-some new to Magic cards in Commander 2015, and they're all going to be in those prize packs.
Oh, very
So that's when it's coming out. It's November. Nate Holt lost. Game 3 of who? If Nate Holt lost, there shouldn't be a Game 3 left. Darren Swisher versus Dan Leach. How did we get another match?
We'll take it.
I thought you told us we only had 4 tables. Have you been hiding out on a?
Is there a
you've been
secret
hiding
table?
a secret fifth table?
Is it the Secret Wars?
That table sounds exciting. Secret 5th feature match. We have no idea what decks these guys are on, but it's game 3. Awesome. More Magic.
So Esper Stoneblade versus Sultai. Both players are 2 up.
Sure.
And we're off.
Deathrite Shaman for Derek Swisher. Looks like Dane Leach looks down at his Verdant Catacombs like, can I crack this? Do I have to? Alright, fine, you can have a mana.
Yeah, he was also looking at his wasteland. He's like, oh, that's a little annoying.
Turns out that Deathrite Shaman card's pretty good. Yeah, the Sultai deck this could be the Shardless Bug deck.
Yeah, there's a Abrupt Decay to take down the Death
I see a lot of the cards we talked about in Harry's list look like there's a Liliana in hand.
Legacy Championship competitors at this time around.
Oh wait, that's a Scrubland.
Yes.
How does Scrubland fit into the Sultai plan?
I don't know.
Those are Abzan lands.
All right. Stoneforge Mystic, those are good to get.
Sure. So good. Definitely one of the cards the Legacy revolves around.
There's a Wasteland. Here's Liliana. I think
Just kill this. Kill the Stoneforge.
Yep. Liliana on 1 loyalty. Oh, he gets the Wasteland to Wasteland here if he wants.
Also has a replacement Stoneforge.
Yeah.
Can I sign up for all of the above?
Yeah. Takes out
Yeah, I
the
like
Scrubland
taking the
instead.
colored mana here.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? If you want to Wasteland me back, then go ahead. Now a Batter Skull. 2 Stoneforge Mystics have already done their work.
Well, they've done half their work.
Yeah.
Second half is going to get that Batter Skull into play, right? I mean, I think that Derek trying to take Dane off of Abrupt Decay so that he can keep his Stoneforge, so that he can play his Batter Skull. Yeah, 2 lands in hand for Derek. It's easy. Waste the colored mana.
Yeah.
You want to waste me? Go ahead.
There's Deathblade Shaman now for Dane Leach.
There was, in fact, an Abrupt Decay in Dane's hand. And goes for the white mana, hoping to turn off Stoneforge. And Misty off the top. Wow, he had 2 Underground Seeds in his hand, so was in fact out of white mana. That was a good Wasteland from Dane, but Derek top decked. Or was there a fetch lane in there? He may have already had another fetch lane.
Yeah, it's possible that he had the fetch lane.
Dane just declined to activate Liliana, didn't he? On his last turn.
Yeah. He did not.
I mean, it's possible that he didn't want to discard anything,
Right.
and that he did it on purpose. It's also possible. Ooh, Bitter Blossom.
Alright, so I'm up. Wow.
Is that a Zealous Persecution in Dane's hand? It is.
So I don't believe Dane is playing Sultai. That seems incorrect. It looks like
Yeah,
he's playing black-white tokens or something.
Well, or Abzan tokens.
Yeah, Abzan tokens, sure.
Alright, what's the difference between an Esper Stoneblade and Esper Deathblade? Deathrite Shaman, is that the difference?
So, Zealous Persecution and a land get discarded as Liliana ticks up.
Yeah.
But now,
Derek's going to crack a fetch land for white mana so that he can activate Stoneforge end step, putting the Batter Skull into
you're going to
play.
put the Batter Skull in play here, right?
Yeah, it's got to
just
be
going to
Batter
put.
Skull. I put Batter Skull into play here. I mean, Jitte has some value, but Batter Skull is just so big, hits so hard. Your opponent might kill Stoneforge. Like, Jitte is a card you can cast without help.
Right. Yeah. He's got the Batter Skull all lined up in hand. Here it comes. Puts into play, gets Germ Token. And he has an unobstructed path to the Liliana.
Batter Skull kills Liliana. Stoneforge chips away for him.
Now the force field is engaged.
I guess. It's a force field where your opponent gains 4 life.
Here's a Pething Needle.
What do you even name here? Jitte?
It's a dig through time for Derek Swisher. What did he name?
Still on the stack.
Okay.
Derek's responding with this dig through time. I mean, naming Stoneforge doesn't do much with the Batterskull in play. Naming Batterskull only does something if you can kill the germ. You know your opponent has a Jitte in hand, I guess you'd name Jitte if it resolves, but this is not exciting for Dane Leach. Gotta like the Esper Deathblade side of this matchup right here. Yeah. Counters it with a dig through time. Takes Force of Will, blue card.
Seems good. All right.
I don't know, I'm not convinced Pithing Needle was that crazy good here.
Here comes a fetch land. So we're gonna put Jitte online this time.
Makes sense to me.
Just keep the pest control online. Puts it on the Batterskull.
Oh, here's that Abrupt Decay.
Yeah. Removes a land from Derek's graveyard.
Germ token? Oh, Jitte.
It kills the Jitte. Wow. And then force fields. The Batterskull. Derek's moving in the wrong direction for him. I haven't seen a lot of it.
Not a lot.
Okay. Deathblade Shaman taps for mana again. Oh no, I'm sorry. He was just using the ability. Got it. Swisher's all the way up to the mid-20s here. He's at 27.
Where is Dane going?
He's playing Wrath of God?
Armageddon.
Oh, it's Armageddon.
And Derek is going to fetch as a response? He wants the thinning effect. Oh, he's got Force.
He's got a hard cast force.
That makes sense. Has that Armageddon even been good for Dane? Like, he's icing a board position where he's taking 2 a turn and not really accomplishing anything else. Like, he's managed to maneuver things to where he's only taking 2 a turn and having Derek gain 4. I mean, I still think Derek tried to counter it just because he's so far ahead that he doesn't want something crazy to happen.
There's True Name Nemesis.
All right, now the clock is 5 a turn.
Plays 12. By the way, not a lot of time left here.
That's true. Move the Batterskull onto the True Name Nemesis.
But I think there'll be enough time.
Yeah. None of this block with a fairy token stuff anymore.
Yeah.
How about we just hit you for 7?
Falls 4. He's got 1 turn to
That should do it.
Yep,
And there's the hand. So Derek Swisher moves to 3-0.
Esper Deathblade.
Good deck. Get used to that one.
Yeah.
We're going to see a lot of that and variations.
You're going to see more Stoneforge Mystics or Delver Secrets.
Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, Delver's good. Stoneforge is great.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the assessment. I feel like watching people out on the floor, I saw a lot more Delvers than I saw.
Yeah. Well, are we going to see? I don't know. I'm predicting for future matches.
All right. That's a good parse of the question.
So what I heard.
Yeah.
So we're out of Magic for this round?
Should we? All right. So we're gonna take a quick little break. And
Yeah,
then,
not much time left in this round, so hopefully it won't be too
There was
long.
under a minute left as that match wrapped up. So as soon as they turn it around, we'll be right back. We're gonna shuffle around in the booth, and we'll be back with more Legacy Championship action from here at Eternal Weekend.